Joe Hogsett really needs no introduction. We all heard from the mayor at our third quarterly meeting last year, elected thereafter as the 49th mayor of Indianapolis. But we're really excited he's taken the time to engage with and learn about Gypsy, and we're really appreciative of that, Mayor. And we're particularly excited that he chose to take advantage of the opportunity to speak to the board of Gypsy at the very first chance he had, the first board meeting after he was inaugurated. We appreciate that as well. We all know that it's a tremendously exciting time for Joe, for you to take over leadership of our great city. At the same time, we know you will face significant challenges as well. Gypsy looks forward to partnering with you to confront head-on some of those challenges. Ladies and gentlemen, Mayor of Indianapolis, Joe Hogsett.
Well, thank you, Murray, and good morning to everyone. Thanks for getting up on a rainy Wednesday to come, and I'll try to be brief in my remarks because I know the agenda is full, and I see where Doug Bowles is following me. I don't know whether Doug is here yet, but you know, we're pretty close to the 100th running of the Indianapolis 500-mile race, which is a significant event in our city's history. So I look forward to what Doug has to say and obviously the updates that he may bring. Let me just start. As most of you who have been putting up with me for the last 2.5 months know, I have a very good staff, and they are very thoughtful. So they prepare thoughtful remarks for me to give, or at least refer to. And as most of you know, I quickly decide to discard the prepared remarks and go off script. So first, I would be remiss if I did not take time to thank the Greater Indianapolis Progress Committee for this opportunity and for your leadership over the years. Thanks to Murray Clark, thanks to people like Deborah Daniels and others who have capably led the organization, particularly of recent. But you know, I was struck by the 50th anniversary celebration that we enjoyed last fall, and it was pretty cool having all 5 mayors up on the stage talking about the evolution of our great city over the last 50 years. But what struck me more than anything else, and I've shared this with Murray, was that 5-minute, maybe it was 5 minutes or more, video that the staff here or someone had been responsible for constructing. And they were, if you will remember correctly, still photos of our city, and particularly our downtown. Now, I'm 59 years old, and as most of you know, I've lived in Indianapolis for the better part of 35 to 40 years, but I grew up in a little town called Rushville, about an hour from here on the way to Cincinnati. And even in my earliest years, my family was inextricably linked to the city. My father worked here. And so we were downtown a lot. And yet it was not until the 50th anniversary of the Greater Indianapolis Progress Committee and that video that I was forced to recall and remember those pictures of what downtown Indianapolis looked like in the 1960s and the 1970s. Not that it was bad, but it sure is different today. And who do we have to thank for that? Well, we have 5 people in particular. One probably more than any of the other four, although all five played a pivotal role. But when Bill Hudnut told us, you can't be a suburb of nothing, which was his gentle way of reminding us we had to invest in our downtown, those pictures vividly reminded me of what Mayors Lugar and Hudnut and Goldsmith and Peterson and Ballard have done, along with, dare I forget, the Greater Indianapolis Progress Committee and your leadership, what we have done to transform this city into a destination point, which, by the way, as a personal plug, 500 to 600 mayors will be coming here the last week of June. The U.S. Conference of Mayors, thanks to Mayor Ballard, he secured Indianapolis as our host city. So we'll be showing Indianapolis off to mayors, from big city mayors from all over the country. June 24th to 27th. Please write that down. If, as a member of this organization, if your firm or your business wants to participate, see me afterwards. Because we're going to put on a great show. The U.S. Conference of Mayors, as you probably appreciate, kind of run the inside. It will be held at the JW, and, you know, I was watching the primary results last night. You know, and they excited me in the sense that, you know, from a purely personal perspective, as I look over the landscape in May and June, I mean, I see no reason why the Democratic nominee or the Democratic candidates, the Republican nominee and the Republican candidate, they may very well all come to Indianapolis, because it still may be a jump ball. So this is a way that I think national media will flock to our city in the end of June, and we will be in return given the opportunity to show the country the kind of city that you, along with these great mayors who have preceded me, have built. Okay, so I promised Molly that I'd keep an eye on her, because she'll give me the wrap-up sign. I'm off script. Murray, that's a dangerous thing. Let me tell you the three things that, just as an update, very quickly, and then I'm going to make an ask, and then I'll be done. The three things that concern me more than anything else, and I share them with you because I want to have a conversation with the Greater Indianapolis Progress Committee about all three. Number one, during the course of the campaign, as you might imagine, there was a great deal of discussion about the public safety of our community. And that is a very legitimate discussion to have. We do have an epidemic of violent crime, particularly gun-related crime in Indianapolis. And it remains, you know, statistically unabated. The perpetrators and the victims are both getting younger. And it's a problem that is not obviously going to be resolved overnight. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in a minute. But with the help of Chief Troy Riggs, with the help of Chief Ernie Malone and the public safety community, with our federal and state law enforcement partners, I think collectively we can move the dial. As Deborah will tell you, it's going to take a lot of lifting, but working together, I am confident that we can restore the public's confidence in the security and the safety of our neighborhoods and our streets. That's topic one, challenge one, issue one, discussed widely in the campaign. What wasn't discussed widely in the campaign, I would say, is challenge 1A. If public safety is challenge 1, this is challenge 1A, not 2. The long-term fiscal stability and financial security of the city of Indianapolis. The good news is, this is a great city, well-managed, with great leadership. The challenging is, and the truth is, we face a $50 million structural deficit annually. And I'm not here to point fingers or to assess blame. I don't really care. That's not my job. My job is to figure out how we go forward. And I would suggest that's your job as well. To together figure out how we can right the fiscal ship of our city in ways, again, when I say I'm not assessing blame, I'm not castigating the General Assembly or, we all know that people in the State House aren't particularly warm to the idea of fiscal home rule and a multiplicity of different reasons why we face this financial challenge. But it is real and it is upon us. And to the extent that the General Assembly this year may flush out some local option income tax to the tune of $52 million or so, that's good. But it just gets us another year, right? So we're going to have to make some structural changes, and I'm going to need your help in figuring out, along with the council, how we do that. Issue 3 is the exponential rise in the level of poverty that we've experienced in our city. And I would simply point out what you already know, and that is to remind you when Bill Hudnut said, you can't be a suburb of nothing. The suburbs that Mayor Hudnut referred to were the townships, right? They're not the suburbs anymore. You know that, and I know that. Our suburbs of this great metropolitan city that we all call home, and it is great. The suburbs are the contiguous counties. And the townships are part of not the urban core, but certainly the core of our city. And they are struggling. And that's what Plan 2020 and others attempt to meaningfully address. So, and I don't need to tell you, poverty, education, workforce development, they're all inextricably linked with crime and public safety and addiction and substance abuse generally and mental health. A very complicated and complex series of issues that I'm going to need your help in addressing. So let me go back on script just for a minute and make an ask of the great, by the way, let me just say, I also understand that our mayors have chosen to use the Greater Indianapolis Progress Committee in a multiplicity of different ways. And I'm not here to comment on that, because I can't really tell you personally how things were done. All I can tell you is, on a go-forward basis, I want this to be the most vital aspect, the most vital organization, the most dedicated and committed group of community leaders in the entire city. And as mayor, I want to rely on you to help me move our city forward in meaningful ways. So if in the past you've felt engaged, if in the past you felt overlooked, if in the past, dare I say, Gypsy has felt maybe from time to time ignored, fasten your seatbelts, because there's a new driver and I'm going to need you, and that's why I'm here today. So briefly, let me just tell you, in the area of public safety, a few weeks ago I sent to the City County Council Proposal 112. It's a reorganization of the public safety infrastructure of our city government. As you probably know, the plan eliminates the public safety department and provides that the police chief and the fire chief will report directly to the mayor. I believe that that ensures many things, but one thing above all that ensures is that the proverbial buck stops with me. If we don't do something to protect our city streets and our neighborhoods, to restore public's confidence in our public safety, that's going to be my fault. And I'm going to be held accountable. And that is as it should be. And if I'm not successful, 4 years from now, you'll be looking at a new mayor. I hope that it cuts bureaucracy. I hope it increases accountability and transparency. I hope that it saves taxpayer dollars. But it does create and implement what I'm calling a over-the-horizon public health-driven strategy, one that Chief Troy Riggs, as you know, has promoted. It clearly defines, I hope, the systemic problems. It uses scientific methods to identify risk factors and protective factors. It develops and tests preventative strategies, and it then assures widespread adoption of those strategies if they prove effective. If they work, let's do more of it. If they don't work, we discard it. So, why am I telling you all that? Well, Proposal 112 can't do it alone. That's where you come in. I'm asking Gypsy to lead what I believe is the key initiative to our new approach to public safety and health. I am today asking the Greater Indianapolis Progress Committee to take the leadership on the creation and implementation of our summer jobs initiative that I talked about during the course of the campaign extensively. We cannot arrest our way out of our public safety problem. And as a result, we do need efforts in place that ensure that our young people graduate from high school, stay away from illicit gang activity, and frankly, my desire would be to keep our young people out of the criminal justice system altogether, instead of spending our time trying to figure out how we rescue them from bad decisions and bad choices, which then lead to bad outcomes. Once in full effect, I am hopeful that this program will give thousands of young people in our city the chance to learn meaningful skills while making some money and gaining a better understanding of how the world works around them. I am told that demographically there are up to 20,000 young people in Marion County that are between the ages of 15 and 18 or 19 and who live at risk. Now, we can't employ 15 to 20,000 people, young people, overnight. But can we this summer employ, not through government work, right? But can we use Gypsy? Can we use the office of the mayor to help coordinate programs that are already widely successful, like TeenWorks from the Glick Family Foundation, like the KIB summer program? Can we collaborate and coordinate a program where this summer, in 2016, we can put minimally 1,000 kids to work? Remember, the summer jobs today, not the summer jobs of my youth, which were 12 weeks in length, right? Some of you remember those days. We needed a job from Memorial Day to Labor Day, and we wanted to get paid pretty well for it. Well, summer jobs now today are 6 weeks. That's what we're talking about, 6 weeks in duration. And as a dear friend of mine reminded me, because some wise sage had shared with Dan, in the summer, when kids got nothing to do, they rarely do nothing. And that is true. We got to give them something to do. Can we employ together with TeamWorks, with KIB, with your businesses? Can we put together 1,000 summer jobs this summer for 1,000 kids who otherwise would be on the streets? And if we are successful in doing that, will that send a message to not only the leadership of our community in this room, but will that send a message to people who aren't in this room that this is something big, and that it's something important, and that it's something bold, and that we want to be part of it next year? And so is it too much to ask that in 2017 we might employ 2,000 kids, and 3,000 kids the summer thereafter, and 4,000 the summer thereafter? I don't think that's asking too much, and I do believe that our city and its future are at stake. Will it by itself solve our public safety challenge? No. But will it go a long way toward giving these kids the kind of opportunity that they need to keep them off the streets, to put money in their pockets, to help them learn a little computer and financial literacy, how to put together a resume, how to get on the internet and find educational scholarships or educational opportunities or work-related apprenticeships? Yes. And I think it will have a profound significance. I'm asking of you today to embrace that initiative. And this is only the beginning. There's much to come. The future of our city is at stake. I'm passionately optimistic about our future, and I look forward to joining with you in partnership for a better Indianapolis. Thank you very much.